Lilith was not the first wife of Adam. We can't confirm that because the Bible does not mention that statement anywhere. However, the scriptures does say that Lilith exists, and this is what it says about her. Now pay real close attention as we break down this verse. In the 34th chapter of Isaiah, God is prophesying the fall of Edom. Edom is the nation that came from Esau, who was Isaac's firstborn son, the one who God said he hated, and the one who sold his birthright just to satisfy his hunger. In Isaiah chapter 34 verse 13, it says the screech owl, listen, will find itself in the desolate area and find her rest there. Remember I told you, you have to study the original text. The word screech owl in the Hebrew is the word Lilith. You ready for this? Lilith, by definition in the original Hebrew language, means a female night demon. So this Lilith was not Adam's first wife. She actually is a female night demon. This unclean spirit is lurking in the night where it is dark. That's why it's a night demon. Darkness speaks of concealment. It's the place that's absent of light or absent of God, which is the breeding ground for sin and demonic control. So here's wisdom. Connect to God so you can know how these things operate.
I love how when they say you got to go to the original text, when they won't go to the original influence of the text. Now you're right. Most archaeologists and biblical scholars and secular biblical scholars will say that Lilith was not the first wife of Adam. For a while, the Hebrew Israelite people did believe this simply because they were questioning, why does this talk about man and woman being created and told to be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and all that sort of thing on the I believe 6th day of creation, right? But after those 6 days, then there's the creation of Adam and Eve in the garden, because there was no man to till the earth, and it gives a reason, not because this guy hadn't actually done the creation, but it says because this God had not caused it to rain. So if there is no rain, we know that eventually everything on earth will die. So there was not a man to till the earth. That's why he created Adam and Eve. A garden mist came up, water created the garden, everything sprouted, and he made the garden, which in the ancient Semitic, that the garden means to an enclosure, a special place, more like a prison where Adam and Eve were, but there were people beforehand. Where did they come from? Who were these people? So the Lilith story was created to show that women were unruly because Lilith wanted to be on top. She didn't think that she should always be on the bottom when they was having sex, because she claimed that they were created equally. You will find most of this in the Kabbalah. But where does the idea or Lilith come from, since he said he studied? And one thing I want to throw in there, you said that God hated Esau. So this guy has the ability to hate. So I thought hate was sinful, that this guy was a God of love. So how can a God of love hate? Because love is at the far end. Hate is at the other far end. This guy did a big swing. Esau, I hate you. Esau, I hate you. Jacob, I love you. That's a whole nother conversation. But back to Lilith. If you actually went and looked at the original and studied the Atrahasis and the Epic of Gilgamesh, then one of the things that you will find is that when Gilgamesh was going through his trials and he was looking for immortality, he had heard about Ilnana. And Ilnana believed that she had immortality in her pum-pum. So Gilgamesh, when he approached Ilnana about this, also known as Ishtar, depending upon which group of people we're talking about, whether it's the Akkadian version, the Assyrian version, or the Sumerian version, Ilnana gave him a challenge. If you want to find this immortality, then first I need you to kill the serpent and the zubird that is on my Lulutu tree. My Lulutu tree. And when Gilgamesh accomplished the task of getting rid of the zubird and the serpent, these people of the desert of the Levant believed that the Lulutu, or the serpent, or and this is not reference to the serpent in the garden, but the Lulutu spirit of the bird, the zubird, and the serpent was living out in the desert. And it would lure men or young children out into the desert, and these people would die. So basically, if somebody wandered off to the desert, or if they died in the desert, they said the Lulutu spirit, took them, guided them out there. That the Lulutu spirit would come in and have sex with men, and those men would be lured away from their families, their wives, and they would go off into the desert. This was a mythological teaching that they had prior to the Hebrew people ever being known about. One of the other aspects that developed about the Lulutu tree is that because she was so pissed off with Adam getting a new wife, Eve, that she was the one that was causing crib death. And actually in the Middle Ages, Christian women would put this symbol above their children's bed in order to protect them from the Lulutu, spirit. This is what they believed. It was called the Hand of Mary at that time frame during the Middle Ages. Go research it. So Christians used to use talisman, a lot of them, but they believed in this Lulutu spirit being out there and killing these men and killing babies in what we now to know as SIDS, as crib death. So when somebody says go and study the original, the old, if you want to understand Genesis, then you need to go and study the Sumerian. Go read the Atrahasis. Go read the Enuma Elish. Get an understanding of the Epic of Gilgamesh, and it will answer many of the things that are spoken of in your Old Testament and New Testament. And the fact that Isaiah is speaking on this just lets you know that he did have knowledge of this desert people's story, because many desert people had this same understanding, had this same belief, I should say, had this same belief. And Isaiah is just demonstrating that he was aware of that belief. But you have a great day. And remember always, you got to free yourself to be yourself, because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration.